Okay, so here we go. Um, Hanging out, rough conversations, take one. Um, I'm Brad.
And I'm George.
Yeah, so this is Brad and George. We're chilling out in the room at the moment, and we're having a conversation. Um, this particular conversation, we decided that we would share it. What happened was we started talking about an experience that I'm having at the moment that we thought perhaps a lot of other people might have. So, bearing in mind that by discussing this particular topic and posting it, we stand a chance of some major ridicule from people that we know.
Just a tad, yeah.
But also, we decided, you know what? We sit around sometimes and we just discuss a whole bunch of things, right? That potentially could be good to share with other people.
That's correct. Yeah.
In this instance, it's about females and as guys how we perceive certain things. But I don't think that it's necessarily restricted to just guys, males, and how they perceive females. It's both ways as well. Yeah. And we need to get a bit of feedback on that. So I also potentially at this rate run the risk of the female in question that I'm speaking of. I'm not going to name any names, but her perhaps listening to this and being able to identify that it's that she's the one that's being spoken of, and I potentially run the risk of completely ruining any potential relationship or anything that might be in the works there. But let's see. So how the story started was, I'm busy having a little get to know session, right, with a chick, and we went out last night. We went to this nice little Mexican place in London, and it was just off Leicester Square, Soho side, right? And it's the second time we've seen each other, and so I was saying to you,
yes,
isn't it amazing how when I found that when I was sitting in a restaurant with a chick, how other chicks started to pay more attention, right?
Correct.
Is this something that you find?
I have noticed this before for some interesting reason, or something that's happening. Maybe it's a pheromone in the air or something. But I find women, the few experience that I've had, women tend to look at me or you or other guys when they're surrounded with other ladies. Not quite sure because it would be nice, even if I'm speaking to a friend, the ladies still look over. But for some reason, when there's another lady at the table, they look at the lady and they look at me. But it's more than just a look.
There's a bit of interest there.
There's a bit of interest there.
Yeah, man, and that's what I was getting last night as well. Now, bear in mind that I've been single for quite a while.
Yeah.
And here in London, and obviously, dude, I think as animals, man, we're like wired to want to be with the opposite sex and like procreate and stuff. So, dude, obviously, there's this urge that I have to be with them. Somehow, for some reason, just haven't gotten around to being in a relationship. I mean, I have my own personal reasons. So now I'm with this chick last night. Still not even entirely sure whether or not I want to have something with her. Also not knowing whether or not she wants to have something with me. So I'm going to caveat this as well by like, dude, she's an awesome chick.
Yeah.
But it was just amazing last night where I was completely aware of the fact that even if there's nothing potentially romantic or physical or sexual going to be happening between the two of us, I wanted to look at all the other hot chicks in the restaurant, but I had to make sure that I just sort of maintained eye contact with her, And that's something that I wanted to do personally. And then we started to, like, dude, as well. The funny thing is that I dig this chick, right? And we seem to be getting along quite well. And bear in mind, I've been single for quite a while, but for some reason, I have this feeling that she's got thighs a little bit bigger than I would like. So I mean, and we were saying, I mentioned it to you, and I'm like, tell me straight, dude. Does that make me like a bit of a douchebag?
Yeah. Not yes, as in responding to the question there. I've had I think I should give some background as well from my side. But to answer your question as a douchebag, I would say no. Purely because as a male, we are hunters, and sure, we have likings as well. Physically, we are attracted to a certain type of woman. But if the woman likes us or engages in us, there's obviously more. There's more to work with. But having said that, I had a lady also that I was sort of seeing in South Africa, and she was large around the waist and the thighs, and for some reason I never felt attracted to her. Although she had an amazing personality, she was a beautiful person, I just never thought of having anything with her. But having said that, I have dated a lady who was very voluptuous.
But some guys dig that, don't they? I mean, I'm not saying some guys would dig that, and guys that dig that probably look at thinner chicks and go, well, like, you know, she's beautiful, she's got a great personality, but she's not.
Thin.
She's
stick thin.
She's not matching my my physical tastes or like expectations and things like that. It's okay, cool. So when you were with the slightly larger bird, I mean, what are you saying at the moment now? Are you saying that that's what you like, or
what I'm what I'm saying is that my first reaction was that, oh, she's a bit bigger than what I like.
But you went ahead with it anyway.
But I went ahead with it anyway because I would like to think of myself as not a superficial or shallow person, that I'd actually like to get to know the person and see maybe there is something there.
And was there?
And there wasn't.
Okay. How long did this take you to figure out though?
This took me maybe, it was one date, but then I went to her birthday party and then I went and I had dinner with her after that. But it was on the dinner that I realized that it's not happening.
Completely unattached to the way that you thought she looked.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I don't think we're shallow. I just think that we like that, and I think girls think the same thing, you know, because I've been told I'm too skinny. I didn't take it too personally, but I did look in the mirror and have a think, so it did affect me in some way. Maybe not in the most positive way in the beginning, but after that it was like, okay, actually not. It's just this person's take on what they like.
Yeah, I mean, that's it. I'm pretty sure that chicks do that all the time as well. I mean, I think we get judged right off the bat. Too small, too short, too thin, too fat, no freaking hair.
Too bald.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah, I mean, it's like you and me, but we're kind of losing it around the top here a little bit.
Well, you got the testosterone. So
yeah, I use my testosterone for other things, man. Not the hair. And this bringing it back to the chick that I was with last night as well, and I actually really dig her. And now I'm having this conundrum on, do I pursue something because I think she's interested? So it's almost like a double-edged sword because, okay, cool, there were other chicks looking at me last night in the restaurant. All of a sudden, now out of nowhere, or at least I noticed it last night, that were more along the lines of what I thought would be my physical taste. And if I think about what sort of thing I'd like to look at every morning, there's a part of my brain that goes, all right, for the rest of my life. And there's where the double-edged thing comes in, because who says that an intimate relationship or sexual relationship needs to have that kind of level of commitment, right? So if I'm not fully convinced that I am into her either physically and or mentally, should I then waste the time in pursuing it and getting to the point where we end up having sex just to get like my end away, so to speak? And how do I know that she doesn't just want the same thing? I mean, there's a conversation for a podcast.
Yeah.
And does that make me a dog? And does that make me a douchebag? You know?
Well, I think in this regard, you will just have to ask her. And she says she wants something more. It's kind of tough because you haven't really experienced an intimate thing. And also experiencing something intimate doesn't make you a dog. It makes you intrigued and, you know, being masculine, being feminine, there's obvious things. You know, in nature, a dog won't go around to a female dog and say, hey, you know, I like the way you smell, but, you know, your coat's a little bit off. I'm just going to leave it alone. No, dude, this dog will take action, you know. Yeah. Having said that, we are not dogs. We are fine, upstanding gentlemen.
Well, I mean, like,
who actually give a shit about
everything you can find in a human being besides the sort of the brain and like the conscious and the subconscious and all that kind of thing you can find in a pig or a horse or pretty much a dog. Yeah. Dogs just have slightly bigger teeth. And really weird shaped fucking penises from what I've seen as well.
Okay.
Not that I've been fucking inspecting dog dicks, man. Yeah. So, and you were telling a story about some chick that you dated for a while.
Yes.
And she misled you somewhere along the line, but how was that relevant to the conversation we were
That
having
was
about...
relevant because she was very voluptuous.
Yeah.
However, she was in proportion, and I really liked that. In the beginning, I thought she wasn't my type, but I got to know her. I kissed her, and one thing led to another thing. Next thing I knew, we were dating, and it was actually really awesome. We actually had a really good time until there was other stuff that came up from both our sides, but a lot of her stuff was coming up which I couldn't deal with, and it became more of an emotional thing than anything else.
So emotional disconnect.
So
that's what turned you off.
That's what turned me off.
So
it wasn't so much
aspect,
the physical.
Yeah.
However, I have based a woman not going out with a woman by her looks, but it hasn't happened often. I like to say that I usually get to know the lady if there is some kind of intrigue. But I would go on a date or 2 dates. Usually after that, it's like, okay, this is definitely not going to happen, or there's some. But for me,
how do you balance that against the absolute urge to get laid? Basically, look, if you know this is going to be a sure thing.
It's tough because, you know, as a guy, I've also been single for a while, and you know, like, sure, you all have these, get horny at some times, have these sexual urges, and there's a lot of beautiful women here in London, and they all have great legs for some reason, but as soon as you look above the legs, you know, and you know, I'm sorry to say that, but it's,
and they got great hair,
which is awesome. But everything else is, you know, there's not much there.
So sometimes, just to put it, so sometimes good legs, nice hair, and always not so attractive. The rest of the body from the physical capacity.
In the physical capacity.
Yeah.
But if I got to know them and there was something there, who knows?
But isn't it true as well that at the moment as well here in London, at least in my experience, and I think yours as well, because I know we've spoken about this, that it's difficult to get to know chicks, mate.
It is very difficult.
I mean, unless you're part of this sort of like pub culture and you go out drinking all the time. So I don't even know how that goes. But a lot of the girls walk around here with quite sour faces, mate.
Yeah.
And it's difficult to have a conversation with them, or I certainly almost feel like I can't approach them, you know. 1 or 2 times I've kind of made an attempt, I get looked at like I'm mad, you know, or like I'm bothering them for some or other reason. So it's difficult in that way as well to try and get to know the chicks, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then you get stuck in this sort of very fortunate position of getting friendly with one who potentially doesn't fit my sort of preconceived ideal of what it is that I would like, but she's turning out to be quite awesome. Yeah. And again, run the risk of completely cocking up any chance that I have with this particular podcast. if she listens to it and she knows it, because we're going to post it, right?
Yeah.
This is going to get posted. It's going to get posted as it is, and it's a little bit of a rough sort of conversation, which is what it's all about. And you know, we're just going to send it and see what happens, and hopefully we'll start talking about more things, because oftentimes we just talk about a whole bunch of random shit that is actually quite interesting.
I would also just like to add is that I think everyone thinks on a physical aspect right in the beginning. I don't see how it's impossible not to, because, you know, first impressions count up to a point. And, you know, a lot of people will see each other, will get a feeling like this person, you know, I can have something with this person, and some guys go up and speak to the ladies get that feeling, they go for it. Some guys don't even have standards, some ladies don't even have standards, and they get together. But from you and I, and for the people out there and who we are, I think it's quite interesting to see that work with this relationship, this kind of chemistry that's happening with this person. And you know, I think maybe you should ask her and see what she says, bro. Just for
see what she says about what, whether she's keen.
whether she's keen and see what she says. If
it's well, that's exactly how this conversation came up, isn't it? Because I think she's keen. I'm checking all the signs. I'm actually also pretty keen. I'm very keen, of course. But then there was that thing of like, okay, well, she doesn't fit she's attractive, and I actually really like her, man.
Yeah.
And she makes all the right noises, even without having been physical. Do you know what I mean? She's got nice sort of like lady sounds and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? The guys will know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And it's really sort of landing in all the right spots with me. But then I just thought, well, the rear of the bum and the thighs were just a little bit bigger than I think I would like if I was going to spend more time with her. But at the same time, that is quite shallow shit.
Yeah.
You know. So you add that to the fact that I haven't been late for ages anyway. I'm like, oh, what am I complaining about? But it's more than that. It's in an attempt not to be a dog and not to be a douchebag that this conversation comes up. And it's a conversation that could potentially make us sound like douchebags and dogs.
And then also, why is the question of someone's physical appearance so important? Where their personality is 100%. You can get along with that person.
They can give you absolutely everything.
They can give you everything.
Everything that you need.
So what is stopping us from going ahead, even through that, what's built in our subconscious that's denying us the freedom to explore this? And if it doesn't work, why can't we say, cool, it hasn't worked, we've tried it, and backed away? Are we afraid of hurting this person? Are we afraid of thinking like, oh shit, I was right, why did I do it?
Hurting ourselves, man.
Hurting ourselves.
Maybe there's just a bit of like issue with ourselves, right? I mean, there's always this great sort of philosophy of every time you feel like you have an issue with somebody, look at yourself first.
Yeah. You
know, which is true, like 99.9, if not 100% of the time. But at the same time, who wants to think like that all the time? You know what I mean? It would be nice to just act on your base animal instinct and just make a decision and just kind of get all rabid and get in there and then wrap it up and go home, dude. You know, but it doesn't work like that, does it?
I think the ladies are probably even worse than us. I mean, the ladies probably speak about their guys in even more detail. We're speaking about certain things that we're not even going into the way that they smell, or like, fuck, we have to undress them first to find out the way.
And there's the other thing, right?
And that's another thing.
The ass looks nice in the jeans, and then the jeans come off, and the ass drops.
And then what happens?
The ass sags.
So now, are we superficial, or
they superficial?
They superficial.
Plastic boobs and makeup and everything else.
I mean, we don't put on makeup. Okay,
well, most of us.
The guys there.
And if you do, it's okay. If you do, it's okay.
So another question is, I don't think you being superficial to actually to go right back to the question of you being superficial about her having slightly larger thighs than most ladies.
Well, no, actually not most ladies. So she's actually in quite good shape. Let's just clarify that. It's just slightly larger than I thought I would be comfortable with.
Yes.
More on a longer term basis. You know what I mean? Yeah. But then again, having said that, I mean, I don't know, right?
Maybe we're just setting ourselves up because you're thinking long term here. Maybe it's not going to be a long term. Maybe you'll get together, have the time that you both need, and then move on.
You know why I'm thinking that way, though? And maybe it's just because I misunderstand the way that females think. But I'm thinking that way because I don't want to be a douchebag for her or to her. So have one or two sessions of spending the night together, and because as far as I know, that's quite a personal thing. It's a much more personal thing for women than it is for men. Yes. It's still personal, no matter what anybody says. It's like tattoos. Everybody says tattoos don't hurt. If people say that they don't hurt, they're talking shit. Tattoos hurt. So even for guys, and I know this for myself and all my mates, everybody I've spoken to, it is a personal thing, but it's more so personal for females. And maybe I'm trying to sort of save that some way, and sort of assuming that she may be more personal. And then it brings up the question of, if she isn't that way, how's that going to make me feel? If she's just like, yeah, bro, let's get it on. Because, years ago, that would have been exactly what I would have wanted.
Yeah.
And you speak to any guy, and he'll be like, yeah, man, let's just do it. Just get it on, bro. She's ready. Yeah. You know, it's just all these sort of paradoxes and conundrums. Because now I'm going, don't want to hurt her feelings, based on the way that I think I'm feeling, but I'm not sure that I'm feeling the way that I'm feeling or why I'm feeling that way. It's a bit of a fucking cock up, isn't it?
Yeah, it sounds like there's a one-sided conversation as well.
I have conversations with myself all the time, but yeah. Anyway, so it's interesting. So it was this. Tell us the story about this chick again. You said she invited you to something. Oh. The one with the full body, in proportion one. So one of the things that got in the way.
We've known each other for a while, since high school days, and I've always liked her. She's always been a really good friend, and then I saw her again after school a couple of years later at a party, and we started talking. And I was like, she's really nice, and then didn't see her for a while, then saw her again. So pretty much like once a year I would see her. But now the kind of ladies that I'm attracted to, she
wasn't one of them.
She wasn't one of them. Physically.
But you ended up having a relationship with her. Anyway. Yes. Did you bone her?
No, I didn't.
Oh! Okay, alright, okay, so you didn't get to that part of the story.
I didn't get to that part.
But so what had happened? So you'd made up your mind, though, that you were going to?
We had kissed.
Okay, so even though it wasn't the original sort of body type kind of thing that you thought you liked, you were going to pursue it, and then something got in the way. What happened?
And then something got in the way.
What did she do? Tell me about it. She invited you somewhere? She told you it was something?
Yeah, so she said, would I like to come over for dinner? And I thought, I had two questions, like, cool, if I go to dinner, what's going to happen afterwards, knowing that I'm not physically attracted to her. But at the same time,
you'd already kissed her by then as well. So
yeah. So I really
kissed her, and then you thought you were invited to dinner, and you were saying, well, I'm not physically attracted to her, but you'd already done the lip locking thing.
Yeah.
So somewhere along the line, there was that decision of like, you know what, I'm a dude, I may not dig her entirely physically, but I'm going to do this. Yeah. So I mean, hundreds of other, thousands, millions of other guys out there probably have. I'm putting fucking dink of money on it.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. That's why we're having this conversation, right? Does it make us douchebags? Doesn't it make us douchebags? Does it mean we just don't know what we want? Do we have time to learn what we want? But okay, carry on.
I think we have time to learn. Definitely have lots of time.
So carry on. So she invited you to this thing.
She invited me to dinner, and it ended up being a dinner with 500 people in a church.
Oh, yeah.
In a Catholic church.
Was it a religious thing?
It was an actual religious event.
Oh, man. So she tricked you.
She kind of tricked me, yeah. But however, I always knew that she was religious, but I tried to put that aside and see if something could work. However, when I went to the church, what I saw was really intense. It was a little bit of a bigger supper than anticipated.
500 people. Yeah, come over for dinner. Yeah, all right. Maybe some friggin', I don't know, a little bit of lamb shank or some ossobuco or something. And now you got 500 people in a church.
Yeah, so I went there, and it just wasn't my cup of tea. It was just too much. And she had been there for a while, and I respect everything that she does and who she is and what she believes in. It just wasn't my cup of tea. And I didn't see her again after that until I left to come overseas on my trip. But having said that, I don't think physical appearance in this regard would have changed anything, because I still liked her from a while ago, but I never got with her because I always felt like there was something missing. I wasn't sure what it was.
And it wasn't the fact that...
And was it the fact that...
You weren't entirely physically convinced from her physical appearance?
Yeah.
But as it turns out, anyway, she lied to you. She tricked you, and you bombed her ass after that.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. Cool. Interesting. So, I mean, I'll tell you what, if anyone does listen to this, and they are listening, I don't care if you're fucking whatever you are, straight, gay, bisexual, friggin' transsexual, fucking lesbian, whatever. hit us up. Leave a comment as well. This is going to be on a SoundCloud page.
Yeah.
And of course, there's Twitter. Mine's at Bradley Tyak. I'm going to use all my regular shit, and then we're going to post this on Facebook as well. And leave a comment, or give us some questions as well, and even things that you'd like to hear us discuss. I mean, we're going to do this. We're going to start just randomly recording shit and conversations that we have. I mean, this is our first one. So yeah, interesting. I mean, you were seeing a chick here you've seen her now the last couple of weeks as well.
Yes.
I mean, you met her up at the pub up the road here a couple of times. So tell us that one. I mean, because you came back the other day and you were like, dude, yeah, she invited me back to her place, but I didn't go. Now, again, so what happened there? And I'm betting it was physical appearance that you were just kind of.
Well, okay, with regard to that, yes, I think it was probably a physical appearance because I've met her again this year. I haven't seen her in a couple of years, since 2011. And even then, in 2011, there was something, we spoke, and it could have gone the other way, but I was seeing...
Okay, so you saw her now. Let's bring it back to now.
But let's bring it back to now.
I've seen her twice in the last 3 weeks.
I've seen her twice.
And she invited you to her pad the other day for what? An orange juice.
For tea.
A tea!
For
Okay,
tea.
cool.
For
tea.
a cup of tea.
Cup of tea, old chap. So what does that mean? That means I want fucking sex.
Yes.
Okay? So as a dude, which is fair enough, and I get this, because this is part of the whole discussion here. We're like, we don't want to be douchebags, we want to be dogs. And
want to be
if you really, so you're not
honest,
really physically attracted to the woman, then don't go home with her. So props for that, dude. Big up. You know what I mean? But so was that the case then?
That was the case.
Yeah, and so what was it physically about her that you didn't dig?
She just wasn't my type. I wasn't physically attracted to her.
She's fat, she's short.
No,
she's a midget.
No, she's not fat. She's slim.
Okay.
Actually, as far as I know, there's not much that I wasn't attracted to. Just overall,
there was something missing.
There was something missing.
I dig that as well, dude. I think that's important. You know what I mean? Because it could possibly sound to the lay person just randomly listening to this, and even if they get to this far into this recording, that we're just a couple of guys sitting around talking shit. But it's a problem, I mean, if it's not a problem, it's definitely something that should be addressed. And so we look at people and we judge them by their physical appearance. And, am I attracted? Am I not attracted? Yes, I'm attracted to a certain degree. But then there's attracted, like, cool, I'd sleep with you. And then there's attracted, like, cool, I'd sleep with you. Oh, do I know if I want to sleep with you every day for the rest of my life kind of thing, or at least for the foreseeable future? Or cool, this chick is hot, man. She's attractive. I dig her. She digs me, but there is something missing. Yeah. I think for anybody to get to that point, I think it's a huge thing. I think that's a massive, massive leap.
Yeah, and also I just like to say, even when I have been physically attracted to a lady, I've gone out with them. I've made it very clear that I like them, but I've been the one that's been rejected.
Yeah. Oh, cool.
Because I haven't fitted her side of the story, which is fine. Sure, there was nothing spoken about it. There was nothing like, "Oh, George, I'm not going out with you because
it's not you, it's me.
You don't have a lot of money, or you're quite a short dude. I can see you thinning on the top." There's nothing spoken like that. It was just like,
don't like your unibrow.
Just want to be
just shave in the middle.
Yeah, we're just going to be friends.
But if we say that as well, we turn around as guys and we say that to them. Can you fucking imagine, dude?
I think we would be called shallow and superficial, but then again, that's my opinion.
Yeah, so that's douchebags and stuff. It'd be interesting to hear from the women here as well.
Yeah. And how they speak about guys.
And interesting there, apparently, and I never knew this, okay, apparently there's a lot of ladies out there that have never actually had an orgasm.
I've been told that as well.
Yeah, this is common conversation. We talk about conversations that women must have with each other. Apparently, so many of them have never even had an orgasm. So they're not even, either they know they haven't and they're not bothered, or they're just highly frustrated, or they don't know,
And if they haven't, I mean, is that also orgasms from them? No, they haven't had orgasms by men.
Yeah. by themselves,
or
both,
by
or with other women,
themselves,
right?
or both. And if if you give yourself an orgasm and you're with a man that hasn't given you an orgasm, then ladies, please speak up.
Yeah.
Please let your guy know what he's doing wrong.
Yeah. Let the real young lady please stand out here. Tell the man, for God's sakes. Yeah, but that's weird as well. What's the guy not doing? I mean, I'll admit there's a lot of shallow douchebags out there. There really are a lot of douchebags that don't put women first as well. I mean, this conversation could go on for ages, mate. I mean, as a guy, I know that. I know that there are guys out there that treat women badly. You know? And I think that's half of the reason in a place like London why the women look pissed off all the time. Or don't interact. Because 9 out of 10 times they're being fucking ogled and hassled the entire time. By guys. I mean, can you imagine? I can't imagine as a guy getting at all frustrated with being copped at all the time by women, you know. But it's just the way we're wired, right?
So you know, when we pay a compliment to a lady and we get shut down, then maybe it's not us. Maybe it's just the surrounding, the situation that she's in, the environment that she's in with these guys. You know, so many guys. The average guy giving her a comment or shouting something across the street or stopping their car and like, hey, you a bit of a foxy whistle there. So I can relate to that, but only because of what I've seen and taken in and being aware of the surroundings, you know. But yeah, I mean, I haven't really gone out with any English women here.
So English ladies, if you're listening, and you're ready,
please let us know what's up
for a Greek South African who's balding and thinning on top.
Yeah,
and a little bit shorter than most, but not too bad.
Yeah, not too bad. We've got the.
I'm only about 1.5 inches taller than you anyway, bro. At like 5'10" or something, but apparently all it takes is 1.5 inches anyway. So, I think we'll leave it at that today. What do you think, man? Yeah, let's leave it at that.
I think we've said quite a bit, and just like to end this off with saying, ladies, to the ladies that we've dated and been with before, the fact that we're with you guys meant that you were amazing in some way. And even if we didn't get down with you and we still spoke with you, you're still amazing. It's just who we are. Our DNA didn't let us go further. But
or they booted us out.
One
or the other. It's not always our fault. But it is an interesting conversation to have. And I'm just going to finish this off by saying that, you know what, I'm pretty convinced anyway that the woman in question that sparked this conversation for me to begin with is pretty amazing. Yeah. You know, there's no doubt about it. And she's beautiful. She's very attractive, and I am attracted to her. And part of me just thinks I should just pull my head out of my ass and just go for it, right? But it's interesting, and it's good to talk these things out. Thanks for talking, Georgie.
Thanks, Brad, too. Yeah.
Baby. That's it.
That's it.
Yeah, cool. All right, sorry, I interrupted you there.
No, I was just going to say, cool. Guys, give us a shout, some comments, and sparkle some other conversations.
That's right. Yeah, I think we're going to do this a little bit more often. Why not? You know, we check it online, the Joe Rogan Experience, all these guys podcasting, talking about stuff. You know what? I have a desire to talk about stuff. I have a desire to talk about the things that I think and the way that I feel. You know what I mean? So we're going to keep doing this, actually. So leave us a comment or whatever it is on whatever page that you find this, when you do find it, or again, at Bradley Tyack, Tysk on Twitter. And we'll leave our details there as well. Send us the comments. Let us know how it's going. Type of things you might like to talk about. We could be talking to you. All right. This is Rough Conversations. We'll chat soon. Bye-bye.
Ciao.